All right, we have a movie review. This is a movie that came out February of this year. Kimmy. It's on HBO-MAX, where you can find it. It was recommended to us by our friend John Kish. Kimmy, a tech worker with agoraphobia, discovers recorded evidence of a violent crime, but is met with resistance when she tries to report it. Seeking justice, she must do the thing she fears the most. She must leave her apartment. Zoe Kravitz, Byron Bowers, and Rita Wilson star in this cyber thriller directed by Steven Soderbergh. So, spoiler free, general thoughts.
I mean, I like the theme of it, the fact that we're like in COVID times and it feels current, things like that. That was cool. The fact that we rely so heavily on devices and it being very much that. I mean, that's kind of like Steven Soderbergh is very good at like whatever he's doing. He's good at making it like that whole scene. He's done a lot of great things I've enjoyed. It was a shorter movie, which I think really helped it. I think that's something that really helped because you were able to kind of like get through it. It did seem a little rushed at the end, which, can happen, but I don't know if you add 10 more minutes, if it makes it any better, any worse. I liked Zoe Kravitz in it. I thought she was, a good person for this. She was able to play like the semi, like, not like completely neurotic, but just, that kind of person that would enjoy that job if you have to be inside and you're just kind of doing this thing, fixing the way that program works, how Kimmy works. So, just like no spoilers. It moved really well too. I mean, like even though it was, I think it was 90 minutes, like with everything.
Yeah, it was like the length of a Disney movie.
Yeah. So it was like, it moved quickly. It got to the point quick about like here's this person's life, here's the conflict, here's the resolution. Like there wasn't a lot of in-between stuff between all those things. So I think that worked really well. What about you?
I thought the pacing was really good because I think kind of like you said, it moved through the different acts of the movie in such a way that you didn't really need to spend any further time.
Now I'm cold.
What is going on? If you're tuning in for just the YouTube review of Kimmy, Greg did Hot Ones at the top of the show because he lost Super Bowl bet. He was sweating profusely and moving a lot. You were moving a lot. And now he's wrapped himself in a saddle blanket that some horse is missing. And is just kind of looks like he's more of a cold sweat now.
It is a cold sweat.
Yeah.
I'm still sweating.
So Kimmy, Zoe Kravitz. Kimmy is the device that is basically like Alexa. Mine just kicked on.
Of course.
In the kitchen. Yeah. Because I said her name. And so she hears this thing and it sounds like a crime. I thought everything was paced very well because like you'd said, do you add 10 minutes to maybe further things out? There's only one really thing that I had any more interest in that they alluded to. And I felt like they probably should have spent a little bit of time on that, but in the end, not doing so, I don't think really detracted too much. I will say that this was kind of weird for me because, Zoe Kravitz is a known actress. She's in the Batman. She's been in Hunger Games. She's been in some other stuff. And no one else really in this movie. I mean, Rita Wilson's in it for 3 minutes, all of 3 minutes. There wasn't a lot of other like name people, which was kind of surprising for an HBO-MAX movie and B, a Soderbergh movie.
Right.
Buzz.
We kind of does that every once in a while. He had that basketball movie. I still haven't watched it from like a couple of years ago. That was a Netflix movie. I can't think of it now.
Was it the one with Ben Affleck?
No. It was he shot it all on an iPhone.
Okay.
Basketball Soderbergh, I'll look it up. But he kind of does every once in a while. He's just kind of a loose cannon in a good way.
Yeah. He's best known for the Oceans
movies. Yeah. Which are awesome.
Right. Has he done High Flying Bird?
High Flying Bird. That's it. That's
Yeah.
the last one.
Okay. 2019 Netflix.
Oh, my internet just. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So spoilers. Spoilers. What were the highs and lows of Kimmy for you?
I mean, the highs are almost the same as the lows for me,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like the idea is, she works with a company where she changes people, like they listen to all the responses, so that when people say, Kimmy, do this for me.
Kitchen paper.
Yeah.
Kitchen paper.
And exactly, the kitchen paper, which then she has to turn kitchen paper means paper towels.
Right.
So that Kimmy understands this. And so that's basically what she does. She has to make it so Kimmy understands what is going on. And, so you had that little theme, and, like, obviously, there's definitely, to me, it was like one of those things where obviously she's going to hear something she, shouldn't hear, or the person that owns the device that wouldn't want you to hear. And that eventually happens. She hears something. We're not exactly sure what it is. We assume, and she assumes that it's something violent. And so now she is on this mission to track this down, figure out what she can do. But because she has agoraphobia and it's COVID time, it's like kind of tough for her to do a lot, because she tries to do various things. And I thought that was like set up well, as like, it wasn't just COVID. So like this movie could have played with it not being COVID, but then because it is COVID, then there's like double reason to not want to be around people. And
right.
And so she did that really well. She played that idea of like being very nervous very well. It was just, I think the thing that maybe I had the biggest issue is we didn't get resolution from like that what was actually happening. We have what happens to her, but we don't actually get any resolution for what the video or the audio that she was.
No,
like,
everybody got what was coming to them.
Yeah.
And then the owner who set it all up was arrested.
Right. But I mean, like, it wasn't my thing is, I wish we could have gotten like something from that though, that was like maybe a little bit, like a flash scene to that. Mm-hmm. It was basically what I meant. It was like, there wasn't any flash scene to that. She never knew, is basically what I meant. Is it, she just ended up having to do what she had to do, but she never knew any of this. She was just making sure to protect herself. And I think it would have been something if she kind of knew in a way, but it's fine. I mean, like, I still think the movie was good. And I don't know if that actually adds anything or not, because her not knowing made it really fun too. So I don't think it changes my like thoughts on this movie, because I really did end up liking it. It was rushed at the end. Having Buzz from Home Alone at the end was fun, and like a wink and a nod. Yeah, that's a wink and a nod to like Home Intruder and things like that. So I thought that was cool. I think it's very much, it sounds so weird, it's very much a TV movie.
Yeah.
It's not a movie.
It was almost like, it was more well made, but like thematically, it was almost like a Lifetime movie. Right,
exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. Like it was the best version of that. It's a Steven Soderbergh version of that.
Yeah.
So it's someone who's very good at doing these things, but he's just like, and I think that was the point. I don't think it was supposed to be, this big theatrical thing, because for obvious reasons. So it's set up like that. It's really fast. It's kind of a movie that you can, hilariously enough, be on your phone and not worry about that. You can be checking your stuff and watch the movie and everything, which is funny and probably on purpose too. That would be my spoiler-ish thing.
The two things that were kind of weird for me was, the first, she alluded to, she was the victim of an assault, but she was charged with it. And I wanted them to explore that, because it was just such a throwaway thing, but really it's what a lot of her issues stemmed from outside of the COVID stuff. So I felt like that was a pretty big unaddressed plot point. The other thing that I didn't really like was, there was at the end where she gives Kimmy all these instructions. They just stood there and let her do that. and it was very much like, it was almost like Home Alone in a way where they, the wet bandits just kind of let Kevin do whatever he needs to do and just kind of stand there and watch him.
Right.
So I was a little bit confused by these, professional contract killers just kind of being like outwitted by this techie girl because they basically just stood frozen.
Right.
So that was
a weird part too. Yeah.
That took me out of it a little bit. But I thought they set up the ending nicely with kind of some of the scenes in the beginning of the movie, obviously with some, foreshadowing and some MacGuffins and such. But overall, yeah, I mean, I didn't, it's a quick watch.
The ending with the actual, like the very last scene ending, like cracked me up because that was awake in the not just the 80s. Like the freeze frame, her smiling and like kind of kicking herself, like her foot up. Yeah. I like thought that was really funny, like in a good way. I don't mean like I thought it was like corny, but like, oh, this is sort of funny because this is those 80s corny kind of things, and they stopped freeze frame on her. So that was kind of cool.
So out of 10.
I'll give it just a straight up 7. Straight up 7 for me.
Yeah, I think it's probably like a 6.5 for me.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't necessarily like, that's not indicative of like this is a bad movie. It's just that now we've been scoring movies for a while and it's like, okay, this was a 7. Or to say this is a 7 and something like I think The Power of the Dog we gave a 7.5 to a 7.75 to.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, this is The Power of the Dog was more than a 3/4 of a point better than this. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So
I can see that in some way. For me, it like, I think the thing that makes this not like it closer is I do think the time. Really, I know that sounds weird to me, but it's like, not that I'm saying all long movies aren't bad. I mean, we both watched Batman and that was 3 hours long. We loved it. Right. I mean, I was like, and I said it could have been longer. I wouldn't have mind. It's not that. It's just, it's what you do with your time too. And so I think that helps. Like this made the most of its, 90-minute run. And
I guess it's unfair for me to say like The Power of the Dog versus this, because they're two different movies trying to accomplish two different things. So that's maybe not a great way to judge this, but I don't think that taking that out of the equation really moves my opinion of this. It wasn't bad, but it's like, let me put it to you this way. We just did the episode on what makes a great film, and there was the 7 plot, characteristics, the plot, the narrative, the casting, the score, and then like accessibility and rewatchability and stuff like that. So just taking all that into account, I thought that 6.5
works fine. Yeah. Okay. So 6.75.
Yeah, 6.75 for the final.
That feels fair then. Score. It's a whole point lower than.
Well, like I said, it's not, you wouldn't rate like Anchorman on the same scale.
Retroactively, where would you have rated Cherry, Brent?
3.
Yeah. I probably would have given it a 4.
Yeah,
now
it was.
Back. I think the books. I think I need to read the book because I think the book's supposed to be like much more in depth and everything. Bam! That was just for us never doing that particular thing.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We didn't do it at the time, but like like you said, Cherry sucked, man. That movie was just god awful. I really can't express how much I dislike that film.
Maybe as much as you would hate cooked potatoes or grilled potatoes that were not cooked.